Tonight on CFTK-TV News, more from the Prime Minister's visit to the Northwest, along with reaction from a First Nation that's opposed, and more extortion escalation in Surrey.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, November 14th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. The Prime Minister made a rare stop in Terrace, unveiling major federal support for the Northwest-based Xilisms LNG project, as well as the North Coast transmission line to power it, and outlined his government's vision for what he calls an independent, inclusive, and prosperous Canada. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante reports.
The city of Terrace rolled out a warm welcome as Prime Minister arrived, greeted by the mayor, full city council and representatives from surrounding Indigenous communities.
Canada, welcome to Northwest BC, and Terrace specifically. Terrace is the epicenter for all the major projects in Northwest BC. If it's LNG Canada, Cedar LNG, Xilisms LNG, Bruce Jack Mine, Red Chris Mine, all the other mining projects that are going on in the Tahltan Nation and the Golden Triangle, the Port of Prince Rupert and all the projects that are going on in Rupert as well. We are ready to work together to build a strong Canada.
The Prime Minister signaling new investment tied to large-scale energy development, northern infrastructure and economic growth.
We used to build in this country, and we are building our nation again. One of the first things that Canada's new government did was to pass something called the Building Canada Act. That was back in June. And this law changes the government's approach to building major projects from why to how. Those projects are projects that strengthen Canada's autonomy, our independence, strengthen our resilience, strengthen our security. They're projects that provide major economic benefits to Canadians, ones that have a high likelihood of success. Crucially, they are projects that advance the interests of Indigenous peoples. And they have to be projects that contribute to sustainable, clean growth.
A bold vision transforming Canada into what he called energy superpower, powered by a strong regional partnership and Indigenous leadership.
Its infrastructure is old as our nation itself, and it drives this huge economic activity across the country, employing tens of thousands of Canadians and uniting our nation. That's the power of nation-building projects. Projects that Canadians have built before, and projects that we are starting together to build again. Building Terrace strong, building BC strong, building Canada strong.
Reporting from Terrace, CFTK-TV News, I'm Helen Asante.
And now we have some of the reaction to the Prime Minister's recent announcements. CFTK-TV's Kel Maslin reports.
Prime Minister Mark Carney appeared in Terrace yesterday to announce a list of major projects that his government is hoping to fast-track with the intention of helping the national economy. One of the projects that was on the list is Xilisms LNG, a massive export facility being developed just off of BC's northwest coast inside of the Nisga'a First Nations territory. The Gitniau hereditary chiefs are very opposed to that particular project, and so they directed a great deal of criticism towards the announcement.
Minister Carney made sure he invited people that were going to back him up. Those people that are in it for the money and not for the environment, because number one is protection of the environment. And he did not say anything today that would guarantee protection for my whelp.
It's unfortunate we were not included in the discussion on this, and we have been very clear about our concerns and very transparent. We've shared with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and so we've never received any type of communication or discussion on the project. And so I think that the Prime Minister unfortunately has made this determination in a very small circle of people, not people who are directly affected by this project in our region.
We are the Kannada clan. And that's our territory they're going to transect. But he never mentioned that. He just mentioned he's going to bulldoze through the territory like he owns it. Well, you can inform the Prime Minister he does not own it. We do.
They also disputed Carney's claims that the project's climate impacts is much better than other jurisdictions by saying that the project failed their own rigorous assessment on if a project is potentially harmful to the environment. Another concern they have revolves around what they say is misinformation surrounding the project, and they've put forth some ideas on how to fix that.
We've been calling for sort of truth in advertising. So many people are familiar with the way cigarettes used to be marketed to people, that they were safe for your health, and that there was no ill effects to smoking tobacco. Now we have much more truth in advertising, right? And so with the advertising, with the branding of LNG in BC as being good for the climate, I think just having a lot more honesty and transparency in terms of the real impacts of LNG is needed. And maybe that requires some legislation. The BC Green Party has proposed legislation for truth in advertising around LNG.
The Gitniau have also been joined by the Council of Haida Nation in the voicing of concerns about the project, while Loch Williams and Metlakatla have filed in federal court as well. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
And Prime Minister Carney's major announcement gets more national analysis now. Here's CTV's Mike Lakuta.
They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies.
The Prime Minister says the transformation is necessary because it's estimated U.S. tariffs and the accompanying uncertainty will cost the Canadian government $50 billion.
Silisms will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year to new markets.
In addition to that facility, the second round of projects includes a hydroelectric development project in Iqaluit, the Sisson Mine project in New Brunswick, the Crawford Nickel Mine project in northern Ontario, the North Coast Transmission Line in northwestern BC, and the Nouveau Monde Graphite Mine north of Montreal. All of them at various stages of development. And the head of the Major Projects Office says her role will be to speed up the process.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the new federal office is part of the problem.
He's created yet another bureaucracy, a new bureaucratic hurdle for miners and oil and gas enterprises and other resource companies to jump through in order to get anything approved.
The Sisson mine has been talked about for years, and New Brunswick's premier wants additional help to ensure its longevity.
We are looking for an offtake agreement. We're looking for a price floor. Those two tools help both attract more investment and secure the value of the resource.
A government source tells CTV News those types of measures were discussed by natural resources ministers from the G7 2 weeks ago in Toronto. Their new production alliance is an effort to prevent China from cornering the market on critical minerals.
Oil and gas producers like Ottawa's latest major projects, but environment groups warn they can take Canada in the wrong direction. The new list includes nickel, graphite, and tungsten mines in eastern Canada, as well as a BC liquefied natural gas project. But the Canadian Climate Institute worries expanding Canada's LNG production will increase our emissions with no guarantees of reductions abroad. The Climate Action Network calls LNG climate killing and says it's sad to watch Canada show up to world climate negotiations with empty hands and domestic backsliding. Coming up next, BC RCMP find the body of a missing person. The BC government is doubling up on funding for trades training in the province with a $241 million fund. Premier David Eby says major projects, including clean energy, construction, mining, and advanced technology, are moving forward, and the training will ensure that BC residents are first in line for those jobs. The investment will increase per-seat funding for apprenticeship programs, address waiting lists for critical industrial trades to speed up access to training, and as work evolves, ensure tradespeople can move between industries. This is the first major increase in skilled trades training in nearly 2 decades, and BC has a record number of people registering as apprentices at nearly 50,000. RCMP have found the body of missing person Mahadi Redwan and are treating it as a criminal investigation. CTV's Anna McMillan reports.
Nanaimo RCMP say the body of Mahadi Redwan was found yesterday near Highway 19, not far from where he went missing.
Yesterday, after the big investigation going on near the Highway 19, that's when we thought that, yeah, it could be him.
The 23-year-old man was last seen around 8 p.m. on November 2nd at a Thrifty Foods. RCMP believe he died here along the highway just 15 minutes later.
First, we thought that he might be abducted, but we also were thinking it could be a hit and run.
As that friend and others wonder what happened, RCMP aren't offering many answers other than saying this is a criminal investigation.
They need another 2-3 days just to know what exactly happened to him.
Police want to hear from anyone who has dash cam footage from that night between Turner Road and Mostar Road.
The kind of person he is, is very respectful and very kind.
Friends say Redwan was calm and quiet and a man of faith. He was from Bangladesh and only recently moved to Nanaimo for work.
He has a family back home who he actually does take responsibility for them. I can't imagine what they're actually going through at this moment.
Nanaimo's Bangladeshi community is meeting tonight to discuss ways to support Redwan's family while they wait for answers and accountability. Anna McMillan, CTV News.
BC wine producers and grape growers are celebrating this year's bountiful crop and a healthy 2025 vintage after a devastating winter freeze last year. Wine Growers British Columbia and the BC Grape Growers Association say the industry is moving beyond the temporary relief and support measures put in place after a horrible winter of 2023-2024. They say the measures taken to allow for the short-term import of grapes from outside of the province kept workers employed and tasting rooms open while their vineyards recovered. Jeff Guinald of Wine Growers BC says the temporary measures won't be extended as members had asked for government help to bridge the unprecedented crisis, but now they're celebrating 100% BC-grown wine again. Turning to the weather now. Tonight, on the north coast, expect periods of rain, some wind, temperature around 6 degrees, rising to 8 degrees by morning. Over the next few days on the north coast, expect a fair bit of sunshine this weekend with a few clouds, then periods of rain to start the week. Daily highs 4 to 8 degrees, overnight lows from -1 to 6 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect periods of snow ending overnight, then cloudy with a 60% chance of rain showers. Snowfall amounting to about 5 centimeters, temperature rising to +2 by morning. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect a mix of sun, rain, showers, and flurries. Daily highs from -1 to 4 degrees, overnight lows between 2 and 5 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, you're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, ending after midnight, then partly cloudy. Winds up to 15 kilometers an hour, a low of -3, wind chill near -5. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, you can expect a fair bit of sunshine mixed in with clouds and flurries. Daily highs between -2 and 1 degree, overnight lows from freezing to -6 degrees. Checking your Northwest BC Highways report now. On Highway 16, there's bridge maintenance and road maintenance underway on Haida Gwaii, as well as slushy sections and slippery sections throughout. On Highway 37, watch for slippery sections. On Highway 37A, there's a section with falling rocks, as well as bridge maintenance underway and slippery sections. On Highway 118, watch for slippery sections. On the Niska Highway, there's roadside brushing underway, as well as slippery sections. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, abuse allegations at an Ontario daycare. Continued extortion in Surrey have a police task force targeting the issue, but critics are saying it's not enough.
Wood boards now replacing doors to an open home. This mansion on the 17,000 block of 32nd Avenue hit twice in less than a week in extortion-related shootings. The first on Saturday, caught on camera, leaving windows shattered and one person with non-life-threatening injuries. The second, Wednesday evening.
We have victims that are recoiling from what has now been a targeted incident twice.
Surrey police say since the beginning of 2025, there have been 95 extortion-related incidents and 44 involved shots being fired.
No, the numbers don't look good, the incidents don't look good, and having anyone in the community not feel safe is not great.
3 people have been deported through the efforts of the task force targeting violent extortion threats in the Lower Mainland.
I know that there is a huge level of anxiety in communities south of the Fraser around this.
Premier David Eby acknowledging the task force needs to communicate better to the public, and in terms of resources,
our team is ready to ensure that those resources and any additional changes or information that they need is made quickly available.
This has to come to a stop. Enough is enough. We need to treat this like an emergency.
Opposition leader John Rustad says the provincial government has fallen short.
We have not seen the action that needs to be taken to treat this with the seriousness that it is.
And is also calling for a federal task force to be dedicated to tackling crime in BC. He says it would be in partnership with the RCMP, CBSA, and federal agencies. And Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke agrees.
The federal government must step up.
Adding the ripple effect of extortion-related events is much greater than one can imagine. Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Surrey.
A disturbing investigation into daycare abuse allegations has a family speaking out. CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports.
A daycare is a safe haven, or so the Pedano family thought, until their 4-year-old daughter came home and shared a troubling tale.
Sorry.
On August 6th, the Pedano's daughter told her parents that as punishment at daycare, a worker pinched her mouth closed and sprayed her in the face with a liquid. Bright Path Early Learning and Childcare launched an investigation, as did a local child services agency, who called the family with this shocking finding.
We've concluded that the employee there did significantly cause harm to your daughter by placing her at risk at harm by spraying in the face with a bottle containing either bleach and water or soap and water.
We had a conversation with the director, and she shared that the individual was already on a safe work plan. So I was flabbergasted. I was like, what?
You learned that there was another family. There was another child.
Yeah, we had no idea.
On November 4th, this letter was sent by Bright Path to families. It claims that the child care worker under investigation had no prior disciplinary history and that he was reinstated under a comprehensive safety and retraining plan. That was news to the Filippini family, who say they reported the same employee to Bright Path 1 month before the Pedano's daughter says she was assaulted.
There was this educator who flicked him on the nose and on his mouth.
CTV National News sent Bright Path an email today. They responded with this update saying that following our initial investigation, we became aware of additional information. As a result, we have terminated the employment of this individual with immediate effect. Child Services, though, has refused to share the findings of its investigation publicly.
The interest of the public, especially where minors are involved, needs to trump the privacy concerns that people are throwing up to stifle these kinds of investigations.
Nobody knew what was happening until we shared our story.
The Pedanos went public to protect all of the children at this child care center and throughout their community.
Economists expect October's annual inflation reading will show an easing from the month before. Lower gasoline prices are forecast to help offset increases. RBC's Nathan Jansen says the inflation data is still being tamped down by the removal of the carbon tax earlier this year. Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index finished higher, while U.S. markets were mixed. The Canadian dollar fell under 1/10 of a cent. The price of gold dropped $100.30. Oil gained $1.40. Natural gas was down 8 cents. Aluminum was up $18.50. In Toronto, the TSX was up close to 73 points. The Venture Index was down by almost 10 points. In New York, the Nasdaq gained 30 points, and the Dow Jones dropped close to 310 points. Still ahead, new potential for Canadian jobs. A record number of American women are looking to leave the U.S., and the most popular destination is Canada. The Gallup survey says 40% of American women aged 14 to 44 would permanently leave the U.S. if they had the chance. Gallup points to the U.S. Supreme Court's overturning abortion rights in 2022 as a key moment in younger women losing confidence in the judicial system. A Swedish fighter jet manufacturer said today a deal on its Gripen aircraft could bring thousands of well-paying jobs to Canada. CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin reports.
The president and CEO of Saab, Mikael Johansson, confirmed he's talked with Ottawa about making Gripens in Canada. He's also met with companies including Bombardier, CAE, and IMP in Nova Scotia.
It's important for Canada to have sovereign capability in Canada to do their own upgrades, to build parts of it, to do final assembly and tests. We, as Saab, we are prepared to do that technology transfer to Canada and support that build-up.
This would be contingent, of course, on Canada adding the Gripen to its military fleet. That technology transfer could see the first Canadian-made Gripen fly off the assembly line within 3 to 5 years. It could also lead to the building of a new facility, a hub of sorts, where jets could be made not just for Canada, but other nations, including Ukraine.
It makes sense to have a big footprint in Canada together with Canadian industry. So it's absolutely a benefit for us to do that.
Canada has already committed to buying made in the U.S. F-35s with an option to scale up to 88. But Prime Minister Mark Carney ordered a review of the purchase amid growing trade tensions with the neighbours to the south. A decision on whether to have a dual fleet of F-35s and Gripens has been up in the air since. A large delegation from Sweden, led by the King and Queen of this country here, is headed to Canada next week with the aim of strengthening ties. Johansson is also making the trip, which is making a stop at Bombardier.
We are focusing quite heavily to make sure that Canada has all the information they need for the moment. And then it's up to Canada to decide.
There's no word as to just when a decision could be announced. Genevieve Beauchemin, CTV News, Stockholm.
That's our news for now. For more local news, you can visit us at CFTK-TV.com. All of our stories and newscasts also go up on our TikTok and YouTube pages. And you can catch the Week in Review airing this weekend, hosted by CFTK-TV's Helen Asante. And we'll be back on Monday with more from around the Northwest and beyond. Thanks for watching and enjoy your weekend.